Hi guys, welcome back to LegalEdge 3 years LLB YouTube channel. I think we're pretty much still in the 2026 LLB entrances zone. There are a couple of entrances still left, and 28th June ko there are 4 LLB entrances planned. A lot of you are targeting, and we are getting a lot of queries ki since 4 exams 28th को हैं, कौन सा exam target करें, कौन सा exam target नहीं करें, etc. So you might all be like a much better idea to address it and discuss a couple of objective parameters as to how to decide which entrance exam you should ideally be targeting and appearing for. Kuch ki dates have abhi bhi, I think SNLU Sikkim, today is the last date of registration. So there are a lot of parameters that you should ideally consider in terms of paper pattern, your familiarity, your comfort with the examination, etc. And then we'll come to a couple of more objective parameters that you should ideally be assessing before deciding on to which exam you should be taking on 28th of June. And first things first, I think I'm also equally disappointed. Students had written emails and we'd also reached out that the examination dates be reconsidered so that you can have more options and you can appear for multiple examinations simultaneously. However, I think the request has not been considered, but still hopeful that let's see if at all, we're pretty near to the examination, but if at all the request be considered and any exam could be postponed so that then you'll have like more options to appear for it. So let's brief background. On 28th of June, there are 4 entrances scheduled, which is your DSNLU Visakhapatnam, Punjab University, SNLU Sikkim is going to be the inaugural year, and Bharati Vidyapeeth Pune. 2 national law schools, DSNLU and Bharati Vidyapeeth, and then you have Punjab University and Bharati Vidyapeeth Pune. 2 prominent premier institutes considered for 3-year LLB, for your grad for 3 years LLB. So let's quickly begin. We'll look at few things. So on your screens you can see, we'll essentially first look at year of establishment, then the year in which 3-year LLB was introduced, location, fees. Now these are ideally few parameters that you should look at before deciding on to which entrance you should be targeting. So for most of them, the last date to apply is still due. So if at all you've not considered that particular examination for any XYZ reason, you can still pick it up. And this is more specifically important for students if the result in other entrances that you were targeting, like NLSAT, CUET, MHCET, CNLU Patna, NLU Odisha, were not something that panned out in your favor, and you're now looking for other options and you're considering them. So you can decide on to hierarchy for you. Of course, DSNLU Visakhapatnam is a national law school, and that is something that is advised that you should take the examination. But for a lot of you, you're also confused between Visakhapatnam, Punjab University, etc. So first look at, these are like basic parameters. We'll also come to how to assess geographical advantage. Then you can also look at your family background, the kind of investment that you can make, etc. So let's look at first. So DSNLU Visakhapatnam, year of establishment 2008, Sikkim is 2018, Bharati Vidyapeeth 1978, and Punjab 1959. Now, why is year of establishment important? Because law essentially is a field that thrives on networking. So alumni base is extremely important. And like people before you have graduated, they're working at certain places. So there are always people to look up to, and you can always reach out to them for any help that you need. So the senior thing is extremely important. And that is why we're looking at not just year of establishment, but we're also looking at in which year that concerned university had introduced their 3 years LLB program. So DSNLU Visakhapatnam did it in 2024. So 26 will be the 3rd academic year. For Sikkim, this would be their inaugural year, and Pune and Punjab University, they've pretty much been doing it since its very inception. So what we essentially look at, this helps you understand the alumni base. The older the college, the bigger the alumni base, and will help you network better. So these are also metrics that you can consider. However, These two, they do get an edge because of the National Law University tag. But given that Sikkim will be the inaugural year, so you really will not have seniors to look up to, and you'll pretty much be their flagship batch. Now, location. Why is location important? Because you will have to geographically move. And a lot of times it's not viable. The movement is not viable. Either there are family restrictions or cultural restrictions, anything. Do factor in that if at all you're okay, discuss it with your family, you're okay to move geographically. So say for instance, if you're from Delhi, you have to move south for Vishakhapatnam or Sikkim, etc. So maybe like Pune, Chandigarh, that way are more accessible to you. So accessibility is another metric that you should consider. And then fees, again. Have a discussion with your family, see the kind of investment that they're ready to make. These are per annum fees, of which DSNLU is the highest, roughly 2,30,000. Sikkim 80, BVP is 1,95,000, and Chandigarh comes to roughly 95,000. So these are basic parameters that you consider while deciding on to which entrance examination should you ideally be appearing for. Now, very important, assess the geographical advantage. And what do I mean by it? So you can see a couple of metrics on your screen. Proximity to the High Court, access to district courts and tribunals, distance from major legal hubs. Because you will have to move for your internships. Internships will be mandatory, so you'll have to move, see what would be logistically more viable for you. Availability of internship opportunities, presence of law firms. So that way you'd see that Pune sits very close. Mumbai has great commercial practice. Pune itself has a lot of law firms, so you'll have more opportunity that way. Accessibility, that you can intern, and even if you have to move logistically, it will be viable for you. Then when you come to Punjab, same, you'll have access to high courts, tribunals. And then Delhi, movement to Delhi is very close, so then you can move for your internships as well. And internships play extremely crucial role in your law school life, because that essentially sets the base for either pre-placement offers or just exposure to the law that you're aiming to practice. Then ease and cost of travel to major cities, you will have to see. So basically connectivity, maybe like Sikkim, by trains and everything might not be very accessible. You will have to time and again take flight. So why is this extremely important? Because whichever law school that you'll opt for, entrance examination that you'll be opting for, you'll also have to see that it's not just the college fees that you will be paying. There are other costs that you'll incur, and you'll have to factor. Movement, travel is one of them. You'll have to travel for your internships, you'll have to travel for your competitions, or you'll have to travel back and forth to your home. Thus, connectivity is again a very important point that you should consider. Then student mobility within the city, how comfortable will you be? Again, movement. Say for instance, if you decide to do running internships with your law school, you want to do something, research, anything, post you're done with your college classes, you will have to see whether mobility is accessible or not. Then exposure to opportunities, both litigation and corporate. So that's how you assess your geographical advantage, and it is extremely important that you make a choice basis these. These are relatively newer examinations, and with most specifically DSNLU and SNLU still trying to find their footing. But if at all you're confused, this is how you can decide that on 28th of June, which examination should you be appearing for, because eventually it'll boil down to just one. In addition to this, you can also consider the family background that you come from. And why I feel it's important, because coincidentally I was talking to a couple of students. Say for instance, they are from Punjab, they're family of lawyers. The family has been practicing, third generation lawyer, have been practicing there for some time. There's a lot of connections anyways. So then it helps, sets the base, because you already have a lot of resources available. Then moving to say like South or other places might not be very effective, because if at all you're like prioritizing the NLU tag, that gets compensated by the other resources which are available. So do a very objective analysis. Basis your background and then take a call. So, okay, this is pretty much the analysis that you should be considering for deciding which exam to appear for on 28th of June. I'll quickly take up a couple of doubts in the chat box. Okay, somebody's asking, I think I do get this question a lot, that all LLB entrances, NLSAT, CUET, MHCET, all LLB entrances, the ones that we're talking about here, they are English intensive. They test your comprehension, they test your reading stamina, fluency, vocabulary, etc. So it's a gradual process. You will not be able to improve it overnight. Reading is the cornerstone to build it. But in addition to it, something that there are little small drills that I usually take up in my classes with the students. What you can do, start with journaling. Just journal your entire day, and gradually you will notice a difference in the kind of words that you're using. The thoughts will start to flow very organically. Push yourself to read. Read diverse genres, read editorials, and then try and summarize them as if you were to explain it to a 5-year-old kid. So, and then English also can broadly be compartmentalized under two heads. One is speech, and then using your oral apparatus, and then motor skills, which is to like articulate, write. You might be good with one, you might struggle with another. So you have to improve both simultaneously. Speech would be more helpful once you're in law school. Articulation will be extremely helpful, and written in examinations like NLSAT, Symbiosis, both have writing components, and will generally help you a lot, improve your vocabulary a lot. So read and force yourself to write. So these are little drills that you can incorporate on a regular basis to improve your language. Just read as much as you can and try and incorporate them in your regular practice. Okay, guys. On that note, thank you so much for attending the session. Again, if you find this insightful, please share it. We'll continue to bring more such important sessions. Any questions, any doubt, please feel free to drop it in the chat box. We're more than happy to take all the questions. And yeah, as the drill goes, subscribe the channel to stay updated, and we'll continue to bring more such informative videos for you guys. All the best for all who are appearing for the respective examinations on 28th of June. Thank you guys. Bye.